Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle, and high school age. I help you implement systems and strategies in order to overcome the chaos and cultivate simplicity in your home and homeschool. If you are not subscribed, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you are notified of all of my future videos. Today, I am going to be joining in on an open collaboration with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way, all about our 2023 homeschool resolutions. So let's get started. I have to start off by saying that I'm not huge on resolutions. I am a big goals person. And if you've seen any of my videos, if you're a returning viewer, you will know that I spend a lot of time thinking about goals and action steps in order to create those goals. However, I do have a few homeschool resolutions that I will share with you today. I did want to share my homeschool goal with you for the year. I have my little list of goals. I have a whole goal planning series. If you're interested, that link will be in the description box. But my homeschool goal this year is to create a home where learning is valued and passions are pursued. And this is something that I work on every year. I try to find a good balance between the things that I know are important to learn for my kids as they are growing and I start to launch them into adulthood, but also I want to balance that with the pursuit of their own passions. And I do that in several different ways, and I will share a lot of those ways as we go throughout the year. You can watch all of my goals videos, my goals updates videos each month if you are interested in seeing some of those things. But let's get started with the homeschool resolutions that I have for 2023. The first resolution that I have is to adhere to my yes and no list. And this really could be much more outside of just homeschool focus, but I am mainly thinking about it from a homeschool perspective. And part of the reason, if you've seen any of my videos in the past several months, is that we were super busy in the fall. And the reason that we were super busy is because Emma was doing cross country for the high school, and then she also joined the band, which is band class as well as pep band and some other activities. So it turned into a really busy fall for us. And at the beginning of 2022, I said in my yes and no list, we were going to say no to public school activities. And that did not happen. Now, public school activities, I know a lot of homeschoolers do not participate in public school activities. It just happens to work for us. We have been participating in public school activities since my kids were little. It's just when I started homeschooling more formally, we didn't have any homeschoolers that we knew in the area. There were no co-ops and such available. Obviously, in the past couple of years, a lot more have sprung up, but Emma being in high school and really having her friend group already, and really all of my kids having that community of public school kids, we just haven't joined any of the homeschool groups that are now in our area. So we did say yes to cross country this year, and that is mainly because Emma runs every day already. She enjoys it immensely, and I thought that that would be good. And cross country actually was wonderful, and she does plan to continue that in 2023 in the fall when that season starts. But band was something that we were kind of up in the air about, and she's been playing in the public school band since she was 8 or 9. She started a little bit early than what is typically done in our district, but she really enjoyed it. I enjoy watching her. She plays a saxophone, which is what I played. One of the primary reasons that she started band was because she wanted the opportunity to play in jazz band. And she was able to do that when she was in 6th grade, and that was a great experience for her. In 7th grade, they did not have jazz band at the middle school, and then COVID hit and everything just disintegrated from there. So coming into high school, she wasn't sure if she wanted to do band. In fact, she had said that she did not want to do band. We talked to the music director and realized that if she wanted any of the extra music opportunities in the district, she would have to be enrolled in either band or chorus. And so she decided to try band, and she enjoys it. But what ended up happening was there was not enough interest in jazz band, and so she was not going to be able to do jazz band. And then the other opportunity that she wanted to do was the musical. However, the schedule that they had for the musical did not fit with our schedule. It just was not going to work. And so she decided that if she wasn't going to be able to do the two things that she really wanted to do, what was the point in going to the class? She does enjoy playing her instrument. She does enjoy seeing her friends at school, but the added stress and the struggle with driving her back and forth on an alternate schedule, because it's not a specific day every week that band is, it alternates with a block schedule. And so it's a lot of effort for something that you're not getting the full benefit you are expecting to get. So we said no to band for the rest of this year, and we are going to say no to band for the fall. It is on my yes and no list again. I know this was a big explanation of my yes and no list, but when I wrote that down in 2022, I thought that we would adhere to it, and we didn't. And part of that is another one of my homeschool resolutions later on down the line, which I will share with you. But it's hard when your child has a passion for something and there isn't another opportunity. There are no homeschool options for music in our area, so this is kind of the only one to go through the public school, and that's just not, it just isn't working for us. So I need to remember that Emma and I have had this conversation. We are both in agreement. In fact, I've talked about it with all of my kids, and it takes a lot of work from Jack and Lucy as well to have Emma be involved in the public school activities, because I do have to drag them with me when I'm dropping her off and picking her up and going to the after school things and the football games or basketball games or whatever other things are in the schedule for her, and that takes away from a lot of opportunities for Jack and Lucy, and that's not fair, obviously. So I'm only one person, I can't do it all, and this is one thing that is on our yes and no list that I'm hoping to adhere to. There are a lot of other things on my yes and no list. I have a whole post about creating a yes and no list, how to implement it and follow through. It doesn't mean that you have to strictly adhere to it for every single thing. Obviously, seasons change, and sometimes you need to make adjustments, and that's okay, but you don't want to say yes to something you've decided to say no to out of pressure, and I think that's what Emma and I both did in the fall of 2022. Yes, so that is my first homeschool resolution. The next one is to slow down. I want to enjoy the conversations that we're having about the content that we're studying without feeling the need to get to the next thing. Obviously, I have a lot of plans for our homeschool year, and so we do have a lot of work that we need to get through, but I don't want to be rushing and just trying to constantly get to the next thing. I want to remember to sit back and enjoy life and enjoy this homeschool life that we have. You know, Emma is going to be finished with 2 full years of high school at the end of this year, having 2 full years of credits for high school. And that means that our time together is winding down, and I don't want to rush it. I really don't. My word of the year this year is slow, and I really want to focus on that. And I think part of that is because we had such a busy fall. We were going every single day. We were out of the house going to something, and it was very stressful, and we were just trying to get through all of the things that I had on the schedule without really being able to enjoy a lot of those things. And that's not how I want to homeschool. It's not why I decided to homeschool. And so just taking the time to slow down and really savor the conversations enjoy the questions that my kids are asking, following the rabbit trails. Some of those things we weren't able to do in the fall because we were so busy, and I had to keep to a really tight timeline as far as when we were doing certain things. So I just want to slow down and really enjoy our time together. That's kind of a theme. It's obviously a theme for my entire year, since my word of the year is slow, but especially when it comes to homeschool, just enjoying that time with my kids. Yes. The next homeschool resolution is one that is kind of a continuation of previous years. It's just something that I try to reiterate and have intention about each year, and that is to create an environment that we are able to feel comfortable pursuing our passions. And that just means that I want us to all feel like we have the margin to lean into our passions, including me. I want to demonstrate living out my passions to my kids so that they see that they don't have to go into adulthood living this monotonous life. I want them to be full of passion. I want them to live out their purpose. I want them to feel pride in the things that they do. I don't want them to feel like they just have to check off all of the boxes and go to the next thing. I know sometimes it's easy to fall into that trap, especially during busy seasons, and it kind of relates to all of my slow living stuff that I'm concentrating on for 2023. But I want my kids to, number one, have the tools that they need in order to pursue their passions. Number two, see that I value that they are interested in pursuing specific things and giving them that space to really deep dive on what's important to them. Now, it's obviously my older two kids have a lot more understanding of what they want to do. Jack loves coding. He is working on Unreal Engine and creating video games. It's something that he really enjoys. He loves to create videos and edit them. Emma loves to do animation and drawing, and making sure she has the resources for those things is important. She also loves writing music and playing music. And so seeking out opportunities where she can do those things, giving her space to work on those things on her own is very important. And it is just as important as, the math and the science and the history and the language arts that we are doing in our normal homeschool. So I don't want my kids to think of school as a bore. Now, that can be hard because sometimes it is, but I want them to understand that a lifestyle of learning is important, and it's not just segmented into specific subjects. It is all the time, it's all encompassing, and just giving them that autonomy to direct their education is really important to me. It's something that I've been working on since Emma was very, very little, and I'm re-implementing a lot of those strategies as Lucy is coming up now, since she's 8, and her main priority is playing at the moment, which it should be. But just giving them opportunities to try new things, to see if something sticks, really talking to my kids about their interests pretty regularly is also important. Making sure that I ask if they need new resources, if they need books, if they need a specific technology tool, if they need to take a class, all of those types of things. I'm really trying to be aware and constantly in communication with them so that I have a good understanding of what they need, as well as demonstrating my own passions. So that is more of a continuation. It's something that I do find a lot of value in. And when I say feel comfortable pursuing their passions, what I mean by that is that sometimes we put what we're passionate about way, way down on the list. And instead we try to do all of the things that we feel like we ought to do first. For me, it's like, I want to make sure my house is clean. I want to make sure that I have all of the food stuff done. I've done my budgeting. I've done all of the little chores. I've communicated with the kids. I do all of that stuff before I sit down and spend time writing. I just want to make sure that they know that their interests are valued and it isn't just about what mom says. And I find that when I give my kids room to pursue their interests, even if they have 40 interests in a week, if we give a little bit of time to each one, it may seem overwhelming at first, and it is, but eventually they start to pare down things. They realize where their strengths lie and where they want to spend the majority of their time, and just giving them that room without making it feel like a burden to me to support them in those interests, I feel like that's really important. And then the last homeschool resolution that I have is to not fall into the comparison trap for my high schooler. Now, the comparison trap is something that I have talked about at length on my website. I've done courses about it and workshops and talked at homeschool conferences about falling into that comparison trap. And I feel like I have a really good handle on it for kids that are not in high school. But once Emma started doing high school level courses, I don't know if it was because I recognized that there's only a few years left of me educating her at home, or what it is, if it's just because it's a new thing, which is probably part of it. I start to think about, well, are we doing enough? Is she doing enough essays? Has she read enough books? Is she progressing quickly enough through her math? Does she need to continue on to a Spanish 4 class, and where can I find that? Does she need to do dual enrollment? If she's not doing dual enrollment as a 14-year-old, is that going to mess her up? Well, the answer is no to all of those things. You don't have to do all of those things. And obviously you shouldn't try and do all of the things. It's too much. It is too much. But you can pick and choose what's right for your family, and that's what I have to remember, that I have to do the things that are right for my family and not compare to what anybody else is doing. And that can be really hard, especially as you are ending a homeschooler's journey, because you want to make sure that you've done enough, and that can be challenging. Especially Emma has, besides band, she's never done any public school. And so everything has always been homeschool. And I want to make sure, she's my first child. She's the first one that will graduate from our homeschool. And that is a little scary. It's a little scary. Even though we've been homeschooling as long as we have, it's still a little scary. So I am trying to remember that as I go into 2023, it's okay to continue to follow our path. It does not necessarily have to be a specific path. It doesn't have to follow the public school. It doesn't have to follow other homeschoolers that I know. They're within reason. Obviously, we need to follow our state homeschool law. That is obviously important. But as far as all of the other stuff, I need to stop thinking about it and just concentrating on how she is doing individually and making sure I'm listening to what her needs are instead of forcing what I think her needs ought to be onto her. So yes, those are my resolutions for homeschooling for 2023. A lot of them are connected to my homeschool goal, and they are just intentions of the direction that I want to move in. I have a ton of action steps that I plan to work through this year in regards to my homeschool goal, and again, I will share those with you each month as they come up, but really refocusing on slowing down and enjoying the time that we have together is my first priority for the first couple of months of 2023. So I really appreciate you guys joining me today. Remember, there is a link for the playlist in the description box where other homeschool moms will be sharing their New Year's resolutions about their homeschool with you. If you have questions about anything that I talked about, you can leave them in the comments, or you can always email me. My contact form is always in the description box. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.